Welcome back to the Citizen Channel. Hope you're all staying safe and well. And we're going to talk match report today. Burnley 0, Manchester City 2. Yes, could have been better, but hey, beggars can't be choosers. I couldn't get to the game. It's well above my points total today, so I had to try and watch it on a dodgy stream, which obviously most of us would have tried to do today. 2nd of April 2022, a 3 p.m. kickoff, which we like, but not when we can't get to them. That's the problem. So let's have a look at back of this game, and let's sort of try and dissect what happened. Well, the teams, yeah, the team. I'm only doing City team. I'm not bothering with the Burnley team. I'm not that interested in that. Just an interesting couple of changes. I mean, just Cornet, I thought would start the game, and I think a lot of Burnley fans were a bit frustrated by that. But obviously they've got important games to come, and Dyche probably thinks the Everton game, which comes up next, is more winnable. And obviously Cornet is bound to start in that one. So anyway, he's got his own thoughts like Pep has. So the team, I got 8 right, which wasn't bad, and I can understand the changes. To my team. I had Edison, Walker. Obviously, he put Aki in there. Obviously, if he's not confident with Stones being fully fit, and we want him for Tuesday, don't we? Then yeah, absolutely spot on. I can't see any real complaints for that. Laporte, Cancelo, Rodri, KDB, Gundogan again. I mean, he's resting Bernardo, which we know Bernardo puts a lot of work in, and there's nothing wrong with that, particularly putting Gundogan in there. Foden, Grealish, and Sterling. Again, Sterling, all right, not been the greatest, but that was probably the changes. That was, excuse me, I've not been shouting at the telly. I don't know why my voice is hoarse. I've just spent most of the week up in Sunderland, so it's a bit cold there, guys. So I think I'm still struggling just a little bit. So yeah, Sterling was the final guy. So that, yeah, again, Pep was happy with that. Will he start against Atletico? We'll have to see, won't we? Of course, Craig Pawson was in charge. On VAR, we had Jonathan Moss. Quickly go through the match report. 3 minutes, yeah, the first chance fell for Burnley. A little header that I think Edison looks a little bit panicked as it flashed across the post just from the edge of the box. It was sort of a quick move from Burnley, quite a good move. And as I say, we sort of got away with that one, but it didn't last long, did it? Within 5 minutes, we were 1-0 up as Rodri found Sterling down the left, who plays it back calmly for KDB, or Sterling down the right, wasn't it? I don't know where I got the left from. And he played it back from KDB, who volleys in from 12 yards. A fantastic goal. Pope had no chance in the net, and surely would go on to sort of, let's not say slaughter him, but score a few goals. But it wasn't to be, was it, guys? I don't think Burnley offered too much after that. Rodri's shot is comfortably saved by Pope on about 8 minutes after good work by Aki and Sterling. 10 minutes, Rodri this time, a good chance after a City corner, but he drags it wide. So, yeah, poor finishing from Rodri. Usually does a little bit better than that, and sometimes he doesn't. Weghorst must be, I don't know where he's got his elbows from, Weghorst, but he gets away with a yellow. I mean, for me, he saw Rodri coming and he sort of went into him with his elbow. I thought it should have been a red card, to be honest with you. And I think he was at it for most of that first half, although he calmed down a little bit in the second half. I think because he took off, I'm not too sure. I think he might have been taken off, but wasn't happy with Weghorst. A bit physical, needless physicality as well. Not in the nature of the spirit of the game. 16 minutes, yeah. One of those long KDB corners to the edge of the box. Unfortunately, Mahrez wasn't playing, was he? So it fell to Gundogan, who put it wide. So obviously Mahrez might have snuck it in off a deflection. Who knows? 25 minutes, a great one too, of course, between KDB and Sterling leads to a 2-0 scoreline, does it? Sterling finds Gundogan, who sort of passes the ball. Again, he did it later on as well. We'll probably come to it in a minute, but he sort of passed the ball towards goal rather than really hit it. He tends to side-foot Gundogan, which works in certain circumstances, but Pope probably had it covered, only because it took a slight deflection. It might have been off long, actually, that it actually wrong-footed Pope and went into the goal. But hey, that's what I like to see. Get the ball in the box, get the shots in. They take deflections, they can get blocked, but fall for other players. So this is what I like to see, so I was pretty happy with that. 35 minutes was the only other real Burnley chance, a sort of header loops wide from a corner without really having Edison panicking this time. 41 minutes. Would have been a great goal. It was tough for Sterling. He sort of shinned it. Yeah, Pope committed himself, and a great ball through from Foden, really high over the top. And it came over Sterling's shot, but you could see him looking where the keeper was, rather than just concentrating where the ball was. He was worried about getting clattered by the keeper. And I don't, as a player, you can't. You just got just wait for the ball, and he ended up sort of shinning it high and wide when he perhaps, it was difficult, don't get me wrong, but he perhaps could have done a little bit better with that. I think he's a bit more scared about the keeper. I don't like that. Players should be tough and they shouldn't be worried about other players. They should just be concentrating on hitting that ball or controlling it and hitting it or whatever he needed to do. But he saw the keeper off his line. And so he should have just sort of tried to chip it without panicking about he might get clobbered. And I think he did it. I think he took his eye off it just a little bit. So half-time, comfortable. But I said on here at half-time, I wrote my first half-time report. Another 1 or 2 would be nice, but I wasn't going to be lucky on that, was I? Cornet came on for Burnley, so there you go. We get to see him, and I was a bit perturbed. I mean, they did sort of start playing a little bit better. I think it's more because of City were playing poorly, though, rather than Burnley up the game. 47 minutes, and Rodri again high and wide when there was other players available. Very poor from Rodri. 49 minutes, 2 great chances in the space of about a minute for City. A Foden flick, a very clever flick, is sort of saved by Pope. He didn't know much about it. And then Gundogan had a good chance literally seconds after. But this one, again, he just side-footed it, Gundogan. And Pope, he's a big lad. He just casually dived and saved it. It wasn't a big problem for him. 56 minutes, a bit of a mix-up between Laporte and Ederson. I thought Laporte was responsible, in all fairness. I think Laporte, it was sort of coming over and drifting towards the keeper. But I think Laporte should have just actually initially reacted to it quicker. But he's waiting for a shout. But don't wait for it. If you don't get a shout, clear it. Don't expect to shout and keep waiting for the shout. So, yeah, Burnley fortunately didn't take advantage of it, and there was shouts for a penalty, but there's not cat and hell's chance of that happening. 60 minutes, this time it was Foden his waist. For he got through on the left-hand side of the goal, and it again hit it high and wide. We're not hitting the target enough again, guys. This might come back to haunt us. All a bit sloppy from City that first 15 minutes at the back and going forward. At 64 minutes, Jesus comes on, who livened things up a little bit, and Foden went off, no surprise. 69 minutes, a great cutback from Sterling. And Jesus is sort of stretching for it, isn't he? He couldn't keep it below. That would have been a great goal. So it was a great play by Sterling again. Jesus was reaching, but he put it over. 75 minutes. Yeah, Grealish lost it. He was claiming a foul in his own half, and fortunately left to a Burnley break and a good chance. But fortunately, Ederson wasn't troubled too much. He made quite a comfortable save with it. So was Grealish fouled? We did a foul. I don't think we got a replay of it, but it was poor, probably poor from Grealish, whether he's fouled or not. He got found sort of just dawdling on it. 78 minutes, Bernardo came on. KDB went off to give him a rest, thankfully. 80 minutes, Jesus hits the post. I think it took a slight deflection. I think it might have beat Pope otherwise. And then we sort of got a chance from the rebound, put it well wide. I mean, obviously with Jesus, sometimes you think you could put them in, but it was a great cross from Bernardo actually to him as well. He was quite lively for that little bit of time, that 12 minutes or so he was on the pitch. 84 minutes, Jesus, again, he was very lively. He's getting plenty of chances. Unfortunately, wasn't hitting the target. He was wide again after good work from Sterling. Again, who had a wonderful game today. You can't take it away. 87 minutes, a late scare for City. Burnley sort of getting behind, but Cornet fails to get to a Roberts cross, but it may have been offside, but we never really had a chance to sort of see whether Jonathan Moss would be tested or not. So it went wide anyway, so I'm not sure if the linesman flagged. If he did, it didn't matter. It just started with a goal kick anyway, I think. So 2-0, that's it. We could have increased the goal or lessened the goal difference to Liverpool. I think we're 5 or 6 goals behind. I think it might be 5. I'm not too sure. They said on the commentary. I thought we were now 4 behind, but that just might be me. So we should really have increased our goal tally today. Perhaps Liverpool thinking the same at home to Watford. I'm not too sure. Key stats, shots 3 for them. 1 on target. I think that's more or less similar to what they did last season when we beat them 2-0, the same scoreline last season at Turf Moor. 18 for us, 6 on target. So 33%, but I said I don't think Pope had to do anything spectacular. In all fairness, in the same way Ederson didn't with the one he saved. Possession 77% for City, 23% for them. Pass completion 89% for City, which isn't our highest, 67 for Burnley. So let's go on to the ratings. Stuart Brennan's in charge of the evening news. I'm going to start with 6.5. And there were a couple of our players I nearly give less than 6.5, but I'm not going to be churlish. I'm going to give them all a minimum of 6.5. You can probably tell which players when I give my little comments. But yeah, it was sort of borderline. But it was a competent display. We never really got out of second gear. We might have got into third occasionally. But yeah, 6.5 is my minimum. So I can't tell you what Stuart Brennan's was. I'll have to ask him one day, won't I? So I'll start with Stuart's comments and then add my little 2 pennyworth. Edison says, Stuart, one simple second half save, but his highlight was a slingshot of a pass to Foden that almost brought a goal. I think there's 2 or 3 good passes from Edison. He's given him a 7. I've given him a 7. I'll give him half a point extra. Solid. And I'm not 100% sure he was the main culprit in the mix-up with Laporte as well, but a couple of crosses he come and collected as well at key moments. So I was happy with Edison. Kyle Walker, Stuart said, involved in Gundogan's goal and plenty besides, with no great need for his pace and a defensive capacity. No, once or twice he was sort of tested, but nothing great. Stuart gave him a 7. I've given him a 7. I'll give him a little bit extra again. I mean, one rubbish shot, in all fairness. Please don't, Kyle. You can't, all right, you've scored one of those way back. I've forgotten when it was now. It's that long ago, but please. But apart from that, he was very competent and looked lively going forward. But as I say, I don't get too excited when he gets in the box or has a shot, as it stands. I'm Eric Laporte. Stuart said, looks a little awkward at times as a left footer on the right side. Yeah, that was true. We had 2 centre halves who were left-footed. And he was sort of sacrificed, if you like, by playing on the right, and Aki was playing on his more comfortable left. He was secure and purposeful, says Stuart, in his ball usage. I didn't think Laporte had a great game. Stuart's given him a 7. I'm giving him 6.5. I mean, but again, possibly limited by his position, but a couple of nervy moments, a couple of under-hit balls and stuff like that. So not great, but I will give him 6.5 because, as I say, I'm not going to give anyone less than 6.5. But Laporte, of the 2, of Aki and Laporte, was possibly the weakest. And there's also a great stat. I mean, here's me slagging Laporte off, and you'll see a stat up there, guys, on the screen. Most points in Premier League history after 100 games. Yes, Mr. Laporte now heads that, 254 from Edison in second, who shares second spot with Drogba on 246. So well done, Mr. Laporte. My thanks to City for coming up with that stat. Well, they may have got it from somewhere else. I'm not too sure. That's where I saw it anyway. Nathan Aki Stewart says, stepped in with a minimum of fuss, giving Burnley no joy in their rare forays forward. I thought Aki was excellent. I thought he played very, very well. Stewart's given him a 7. I've given an extra point. I give him 7.5. He was central to a lot of the good work in defence. And just another solid good game from Aki. It doesn't let us, very rarely lets us down, and certainly didn't let us down today, that's for sure. João Cancelo, Stuart said the width he gave on the left was crucial to opening up the clarets. Yeah, it's probably right. Big attacking weapon for the Blues. So he's given him an 8. I think that's a bit high. I'll give him an extra point. Yeah, I'll give him 7.5. Again, he was a bit of an early man for me. But yes, he was pivotal in a lot of the play down that left-hand side. And perhaps he didn't work so well with Grealish, who didn't have his greatest game, let's be honest, about Grealish as well. But yeah, I'll give him a 7.5, but I wasn't as enthused as Stuart. Rodri, Stuart says on Rodri, I'll find it, kept a firm grip on things in the centre of the park as City racked up a big possession percentage. Well, we always do. So let's give him a 7. Yeah, I'd give him a 7. One okay shot and a couple of really poor ones from Rodri. Okay in the middle, a couple of dodgy moments, which you're going to get if you're under pressure, and Burnley, certainly in that second half, tried a little bit harder. Yeah, I mean, so he had a couple of dodgy sort of little passes in the middle of the pitch, but he won a few balls as well. So, say, just watch the shooting, Rodri. We know he can score goals, but you perhaps cut down the ratio a little bit of efforts, and when other people are in better positions. I mean, we know we don't want to walk in the goal. We whinge about us passing, but sometimes Rodri has to pass rather than shoot. Ilkay Gundogan's Stuart said, lovely volley to bag the second, and that was just reward for a typically intelligent and creative display. So give him another 8. Been very generous, Stuart. I give him a good 7.5. A good goal perhaps could have had another. In my opinion, he was always working hard, getting in a few tackles as well, getting a few. It was a physical game. As I say, Gundogan's happy with that side of it now. He wasn't perhaps at first, obviously, because of the injuries he'd had, but he can cope with that now. KDB Stewart said, beautiful strike for the first goal. It was masterminded the second and oozed with class even in third gear. So Stewart's give him an 8. I give him a good extra point as well, 7.5. Brilliant goal, some brilliant approach play. and always involved, although again not at his best, but always involved and always looked a big danger. Raheem Sterling, Stewart said, tore the Burnley left to pieces in the first half to claim 2 assists and stake a strong claim. So give us 9. Stewart's given him a 9. Well, I've given him my highest as well, so I'd give him an 8 though. 2 assists, did look dangerous. Not all, could have done better once or twice. Certainly that one over his shoulder, which I said, you got to give him that. It wasn't the easiest of chances, but yeah, a very, very good performance from Sterling again after 2 or 3 sort of weak ones, I think, recently. So that I'm well happy with that. Phil Foden, Stewart said his sacrificial role in the first half goal should not be ignored. 2 runs that created room for others. Stewart's given him a 7.5, give him a 6.5. Yeah, okay. Perhaps he did that sort of work, but I thought when he was on the ball, he wasn't at his best and wasted a great opportunity in the second half as well. So I'm just going to give him the bare minimum 6.5, Phil Foden. Again, not the greatest performance from him. And if we're going to talk about not the greatest performance, we're going to finally Jack Grealish. Stuart Brennan said, like Foden, much of his best work was about making space for others. It was, and came out of his shell second half. So he's given him a 7. Again, I'll give him a 6.5. I thought generally, certainly in that first half, he was poor. But he never stopped. Give him credit. He kept going. He kept physically, he was getting a bit of a kick in from Burnley. But all credit to him. He sort of kept going and kept working away, although without any real little bits of magic to create anything, which is what we want from him, especially when he's playing like a false number 9 part of that second half. Perhaps he could have done a little bit better, but not his greatest game. And the subs, just a mark from Stewart for Gabby Jesus, who came on in 64 minutes. He hit the post, missed a couple of chances, says Stewart. He's given him a 6, so I don't, because he's on for less than half an hour. Plus injury time. I'm not going to mark him. If I did mark him, I'd give him the 6.5, the average. And of course, no mark for Bernardo, who came on in the 78th minute for KDB. Man of the match, well, I think you sussed it out there, guys. I think I've seen this, a couple of people give it him. Sterling. I thought Sterling was excellent. And please, that image there is courtesy of Dave Carless at Dave Carless Artists, on behalf, these little stickers they do on behalf of the MCFC Food Bank Support Sticker Project. So if you want any more information on that, give us a shout. I can give you some more information on that. But fantastic there from Dave Carless, a great image of Sterling, who was my man of the match for today. So our overall record now reads against Burnley at Burnley in the league, played 50, won 17, drawn 12 and lost 21. So we're still in the negative, but we're catching up. And we've scored 81 and let 79 in. Burnley going forward, well, this looks dodgy, doesn't it? They've got 2 big games, must-win games, I think. Everton at home, got to win that. Norwich away. Perhaps we've got to win that as well. And then we've got a trip to the London Stadium. You never know what you're going to get from West Ham anyway. But, I think anything less than 6 points from these 3 games, I think they're in big, big trouble. So, if they only get 3, it does depend on what other teams do, of course. And they do still have 2 or 3 games in hand on other teams. But anything less than 6 points from these 3 games, I think it's trouble for Burnley. They are the 3rd favourites to go down. And I can't see anything today to sort of make me think that's going to change anytime soon. City, well, we did what we had to do, didn't we? I thought Aki had a great game, but I tell you what, if we went into the Atletico and Liverpool games with Aki and Laporte as our centre halves, I think we're in for a bit of a hiding. even though Aki played very, very well, I just don't think the pace, I just don't think the style of it, the 2 left footers works. So obviously, hopefully, Stones will be back for Atletico, so it's not going to be a problem. And please, let's. And only if he's fit. It's not going to bring you Diaz back for Liverpool if he's not fully fit, or even an 80% Diaz. Will he be good enough? It's a bit of a worry, guys, isn't it? Let's be honest about it. But we badly need Diaz back for Liverpool. But if it's Stones and Aki, it's Stones and Aki, or some other combination that Pep comes up with. But at least we've got a bit of positivity going into this. All right, we beat Southampton before the international break comfortably at the end. We've won this comfortably again. 1 great goal, 1 slightly fortunate that took a deflection. Other chances we should have had goals, which is a worry, and it always is a worry. It will stay a worry until the end of the season, until obviously, hopefully, we've got finals to play, and we'll also need a bit of luck, but we need a bit more lethality. I call it lethalness in front of goal. Lethality, that's it, in front of goal. And at the moment, as we all know, this could come back to haunt us. Sometimes it works, sometimes it's more times it doesn't. We get lots of chances, don't put them in the net. But mentally and positive, we have a mental attitude, our positive mental attitude going to the Atletico game. So let's take that, and then we'll worry about the Liverpool game after that, won't we? We'll worry about Liverpool after the Atletico game, but at least we're going into the Atletico game in a positive frame of mind with a sort of Bernardo and Mahrez, no doubt, to come back in the team. I think that's a shoe-in, isn't it, guys, for Bernardo and Mahrez now to start that Champions League game based on what we saw today. So interesting times ahead. Stick with me, guys. You want my little views on stuff and want to share your views. Let me know your player ratings. Let me know what you think about the next few weeks. It's going to be a bit manic, isn't it? I mean, Sunderland again this week, guys. So I'm actually having to drive back to the Etihad on Tuesday evening to from Sunderland, and then drive back to Sunderland afterwards. So hey, feel a bit, if things aren't quite right, at least I think, at least Burners in a worse position than we are if things go to cock sort of thing. But so. Not perfect, but sometimes you have to do these things, don't you? And I'm no way I'm missing it, even though I was told, what are you going back for? Well, I'm going back because it's the Champions League quarter final. I've got to be back. I've got to be there for the boys. I've got to cheer them on. So anyway, join me for the preview show very soon. That'll be out, and of course the odd show, and then I will be doing a match report on the Wednesday. But because of work circumstances and being up in Sunderland, it might be a reduced just player ratings and a quick comment about the game. But if you can bear with me, and hopefully you'll tune in for that anyway. But hopefully I'll see you all again very, very soon. Let's be happy. I was quite happy with that. I didn't expect Watford to do anything against Liverpool. It was up to us to beat Burnley. And that's what we did. All right, goal difference still the same as it was before we started. But there you go. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think today. And let's look forward to the Champions League again. Thanks for watching. All I ask for you, please stay safe, Blues. Come on, City. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.